I grind for the check. Line up with me, you gon' see how different when I step up on the opponent's necks. Line up with me, you gon' see how different how I'm earning all of my respect. Line up with me, you gon' see how different how I run the game, but don't stretch. My hitters stay with me, give them nothing, we putting up 60. We got power, you better call 50. Better chill like I reached like Wimby. It's not rocket science, shit you gotta know. We put them down like some dominoes. Wake up early, put the time in. Now I'm watching a lot of shows. Trying to send help when I come around, dog, it ain't working. Trying to just play, trying to stop me, dog, it ain't working. I handle business while your lanes chirping. Who on my level, man, I'm still searching. I'm in their heads like a neurosurgeon. I'm everywhere like I'm Harold Perkins. Let's be stepping, we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard and I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Be stepping, we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard, man, I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Grind all week, now let's get the money. I'm in that mode, yeah, you know I'm coming. Automatic, I'ma bet on me. And my team, twice on Sunday, got it out the mud, so I'm battle testing what it's overtime. Too legit to quit, I'ma move my feet like it's hammer time. We got most of the time to make some moves. All the smoke, we don't pick and choose. I'm here now, I done pay my dues. Can't pour to me, ain't no switching crew. Blood, sweat, and tears, time to put it in this. I know that you hoping I stop. Can't touch me, I know you hoping I flop. Big stepping all the way to the top. Big stepping, we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard and I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Big stepping, we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard, man, I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. But we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard and I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Be stepping, we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard, man, I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Business is business, yeah. I grind for the check. Line up with me, you gon' see how different when I step up on the opponent's necks. Line up with me, you gon' see how different how I'm earning all of my respect. Line up with me, you gon' see how different how I run the game, but don't stretch. My hitters stay with me, give them nothing, we putting up 60. We got power, you better call 50. Better chill like I reached like Wimby. It's not rocket science, shit you gotta know. We put them down like some dominoes. Wake up early, put the time in. Now I'm watching a lot of shows. Trying to send help when I come around, dog, it ain't working. Trying to just play, trying to stop me, dog, it ain't working. I handle business while your lanes chirping. Who on my level, man, I'm still searching. I'm in their heads like a neurosurgeon. I'm everywhere like I'm Harold Perkins. Let's be stepping, we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard and I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Be stepping, we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard, man, I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Grind all week, now let's get the money. I'm in that mode, yeah, you know I'm coming. Automatic, I'ma bet on me. And my team, twice on Sunday, got it out the mud, so I'm battle testing what it's overtime. Too legit to quit, I'ma move my feet like it's hammer time. We got most of the time to make some moves. All the smoke, we don't pick and choose. I'm here now, I done pay my dues. Can't pour to me, ain't no switching crew. Blood, sweat, and tears, time to put it in this. I know that you hoping I stop. Can't touch me, I know you hoping I flop. Big stepping all the way to the top. Big stepping, we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard and I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Big stepping, we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard, man, I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose.
talk about it all here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button.
You know, one thing about Jaden that I've tried to talk to him about is tightening his chin strap. Because he doesn't tighten it, so every time he gets hit, it looks like his helmet's all messed up. And it's like, oh, God, he just got rocked.
For the win! Caught! It's good! LSU does it!
After fucking Saturday night in Tiger Stadium, boys. Are you kidding me?
Well, LSU fan came stuck his spike in my booty.
That motherfucker!
Fan brought his 2 grandkids by and literally was just 30 seconds. Just wanted to say thank you for the team and the season and what you did and how much it means to everybody here is truly what makes LSU special.
Yeah. Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. It's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification. We about to go live. We got all your favorite guests. We got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question. I thought, my gosh, if she gets offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, open up the phone lines. Come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah.
Let's go! Let's go! All right. Nice start. Big day. Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time.
All right. Good morning and welcome in here on this. What is it? Today's Thursday. Thursday. We're all messed up. Rough day for me yesterday. Sorry about
Play the video.
the canceling of the show. I'm not playing the video.
Play the tapes.
Went and got some chicken wings Tuesday night.
Hooters sit you out with a bang.
Did not sit well yesterday. Woke up about 3 a.m. and was
doing the boot scoot boogie,
emptying out the body throughout the rest of the day. Full purge, little Aaron Rodgers moment.
Yeah, in the dark.
In the dark, man. It was a rough day. I texted Lloyd about
Barker Brothers
5:30. I was like, buddy, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it there.
Ultimate bang job by you. I had just taken the Adderall and my phone vibrated,
Really?
and I was like, fuck. So went to the gym at 8:15.
You
made my life better. And I was like, I don't know what to do for the rest of the day. So
I'm glad I could help you out because it was a rough day for me.
Yeah.
But emptied it all out, full body reset.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we're rocking and rolling this morning.
A Hooters cleanse.
Yes. Christian is here, and Christian came bearing gifts. First off, we sent Christian into the LSU men's basketball game the other night, and he came home with a jersey. Thank you, Christian, for your hard work.
Young Buck got schemed up.
Yeah,
some older college
I had to
kids.
pay $60 for the jersey because students were grabbing 5 at a time, so that's nice.
That's awesome that you had to pay. I appreciate your determination to get us
and
one.
then I grabbed the greatest king cake in all of New Orleans, the Dong Fong King Cake. If you're watching,
this is stuff of
sponsor
lore.
us. This is.
I think they only work like a couple days a year.
No, though it's a bakery, just like most king cake shops. But they do a special king cake, a Vietnamese French king cake, and it is. Yeah. Go try it if you can. I know there's always lines.
Where did you get it from?
Pho Cafe on Forestwood. What's it? Forest Boulevard.
This is your arena.
Sherwood
Forest. Yeah.
So I'm gonna take a bite
Sherwood
here.
Forest,
Let you know what I think. Yeah, that'll play.
Immediately get sick again.
Thank you, Christian, for your hard work and bringing us the King Cake.
I mean, this is what happens. This is a heady play by the young buck. After we were going to do a show yesterday, and he has it on Do Not Disturb like he's the goddamn president. I called him 6 times.
If you called me at 6:30, I would have been ready.
I called you at 5:45.
I'm not up at that time.
Yeah, but your phone should be.
It's just, your phone can no longer be
on Do Not Disturb. Yeah, I don't care about your like.
What is it on Do Not Disturb for?
I don't intentionally put it on. It's like it just goes on.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
Stays on for a long time.
Unless you're with Katie Connell, I don't want to see Do Not Disturb again.
Okay.
Well,
hold on. Quick question, Noah. Did you have to call Barker Brothers the other day?
No, I did not. It was not. It was not in the condition to clog anything. You know what I mean?
It happened.
It was quite
streamlined.
yeah, that would be the word. Nothing was getting clogged, you know. But we are brought to you every day by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. If it would have got clogged, I would have called Barker Brothers. What's that number? 225-776-2431.
That would be the one.
But don't forget, we're brought to you every day by R&B Builders. Built and brought to you every single day. Rhett and his crew. The phone line is brought to you by Southern Regional Medical Center. We do have a guest today, Joey Schwartz from LSU Women's Basketball will be joining us. Is it a phone call or is he coming in studio?
We'll find out together.
We will. Works for me.
If it's in studio, we're going to get a immaculate grid of basketball going.
Of course. He will be here at 8:30 this morning.
Mostly Sports took our idea.
Are you serious?
They did a WNBA immaculate grid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, we're not that far in the weeds, but I was like, look, they're seeing it on the algorithm. Right. They're seeing it on the stream.
Yeah, making it happen, making things happen. And then, obviously, we're a part of the G Squad. Christian, cover up that bald head with that hat. We've got the football here. Gordon McKernan, Louisiana's big truck injury lawyer and the NIL king throughout Louisiana. Not just LSU, but all the state universities. He's got deals. Make sure you call that number, 888-8888. Get Gordon. Get it done. Visit the website, getgordon.com. Good weekend. Good week. Christian, how are you feeling? How was the game the other night? LSU basketball game.
It was fun.
Did you stay through? Did you say you went?
No.
To try to get the jersey. Did you stay through?
No, I had an essay to complete. It was fun though. I mean, all LSU men's basketball games are fun, no matter who they play.
Okay.
What time the game is.
There's some good.
Where they're ranked,
publicity.
what their record is. I like them. It's nice too because you get close to the court because all the students fill their spots, but a lot of the other seats remain unfilled.
Right.
So, you just go scoot down and you're basically.
Don't get
court
used
side.
to it. McMahon's able to get the tax exempt NIL money.
Yeah.
Those seats are gonna fill right up.
That tax exempt. I have no problem. I don't care if the tax exemption
gets more
5 stars to LSU's campus.
I'm fine with it.
Works for me. I'm not gonna complain. Obviously, I'm not.
That tax bracket isn't the highest.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about my tax bracket. But if it gets more 5 stars on the campus, do whatever you want.
Who doesn't have a problem getting 5 stars to campus?
Who's that?
Jay Johnson.
No, not at all.
Doesn't have a
full display.
Batting him leadoff either.
How about it? Brian Burgess did give us a message this morning.
Let's start it.
Good morning and happy Thankful Thursday. Today, pause to appreciate all the blessings that enrich your life, and you'll be amazed by the abundance of goodness that surrounds you.
Miss you guys. Moment of silence for BB. Moment of silence over. What a win by LSU baseball.
Yes, huge.
Felt like this is going to be a hell of a ride
for
this season. If the crowd and the fan base is that invested in a midweek game over Dallas Baptist University, good Lord, this is going to be a hell of a run through the SEC into a regional, super regional Omaha, if that may be the case, because everybody was dialed in yesterday from previewing the game with Mikey and Jared Mitchell and mic'd up at 6 to 8. The lineup drops like in the middle of the show, like 6:10 maybe. And we had Bryce Kuhn on to help cover the game, but then it turned into an all-out war on LSU's lineup and where people should be, like the lineup, why it's constructed the way that it is, who should be batting where, traditional baseball versus what Jay's trying to do. And I was like, boys. I understand we're all fired up here because it's a ranked matchup in the midweek, but it's not like this thing is set in stone here.
Right.
Like he's able to change it next game. If you're unhappy about it,
it's not going to be the same.
It's not. They're like, well, I do that. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I learned lineup-wise is it's going to be hard when, I don't think, it's going to be set in stone now, but when SEC play comes around, it's going to be hard not to have that 1-2 punch at the top of the lineup. With Curiel leadoff, Bear Jones batting second, it's going to be hard-pressed not to have that as your go-to. Because you saw it in the first inning just how special that duo can be, where Curiel shows the discipline, gets walked, gets on base, Bear steps up, has a solid at-bat, rips a double in the gap in center field, and Curiel scores from first. And I was just like, that's what it's supposed to look like, Coach.
That speed plays.
Every single time it plays. But yeah, all in all, it was a good win for LSU. There were some bumps and bruises here and there. But, they really dominated the game from start to finish. Ware goes in there, has a one-hit performance. The one hit was a homer from what conference are they in?
CUSA.
Yeah, Conference USA. Well, he was the player of the year, player of the week last week. Grant J is the name, was 7 of 14 with 3 home runs.
Yeah, that was
the weekend series.
That was the one guy that you had circled, number 7. As I was going through, I did my prep for Mic'd Up. As well, I was up all morning. I was prepared, and that was the one guy that you kind of had circled in the lineup who could leave the ballpark, who was their biggest threat, I guess, in the lineup. That's the one guy that made you pay as you fell behind on the count, and he hit an absolute moon ball, upper decky, and it was like, okay, this game has taken a turn because LSU was cruising along. You're able to score in the first, like you would elect to see more runs come across, because LSU did leave, good, bad, and the ugly here. LSU did leave 15 on base, which is not ideal, and that's something that has been a bugaboo for a Jay Johnson-led squad, at least under LSU the last 2 years, or year plus now, and it's something that he's trying to figure out. That's why you're seeing these different lineups, and you saw Stanfield out the bottom, so going through it, you had a lineup that, like you said, you had Curiel at the top, which I thought was, hey, big moment for the freshman. And Jay's done that before. He put Paxton Kling lead off in his debut as a freshman at the box. Hey, freshman lead off. We're not running from it. And that was an experience. And he had Jared Jones batting 2, which I loved because you're able to put some bats behind him. And you had Larson, who was then pinch hit for Frey and Josh Pearson. Like you saw that 3-hole is clearly something that he is trying to figure out behind Jared Jones.
Right. And
you had Dickinson in the 4-hole, who had a monster game. Speaking of monster, Milam right behind him. Luis Hernandez, Brown, who was 2 for 2. He gets subbed in for also. And then you had Broswell, and then he gets subbed for with Costello and Mike Ryan. And then you had Stanfield, who left 7-on, as I said, batting in the 9-hole. But this is a lineup construction that you could see play, and I think in my mind, it's a shift from, I guess you would say, maybe the norm that people expect from LSU and guerrilla ball, and hey, you have to have somebody protect Jared Jones in the lineup. You want him batting fourth with the guy behind him to protect him in the lineup. I think this shows the shift in thinking because of all the speed that you have, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of debate about the style of baseball people saw last night because there's a lot of bunting with runners on. You saw a suicide squeeze attempted. You saw people bunting with 2 outs and people in scoring position, and I'm sure that was head-scratching for some. But Jay is a West Coast guy, and he's trying to manipulate an offense that can score 7 runs. And if you score 7 with the pitching staff that you have, you should win a lot of baseball games.
Right. And on the same token, with the suicide squeeze and some of the small ball things that they're testing out, to me, it's happening against Dallas Baptist in the second midweek game of the season so that it can be figured out and handled prior to SEC play. You know, when you get into conference play, when you get into regional play, you want to have these things ironed out. That's why in a game like last night where you're playing against a really good opponent, but it doesn't hold all that much weight, you're testing those things out. But there definitely is something to figure out with that 3-hole. I would be interested to see, you know, what ends up coming of it because I do, like I said, I like that 1-2 punch, but they got to figure something out there. I did like the at-bats I saw from Ethan Fry, John Pearson with a huge at-bat. But the story of the night to me was Connor Ware and the way he started that baseball game. He got down, I think the first batter, he goes down 3-0. You know, he gives it 3 straight balls, comes back, strikes him out. He ends the night with 6 strikeouts.
Perfect through 4.
It was beautiful. It really, I mean, the defense, you can see the confidence these pitchers have in the defense behind them. Because, I mean, there were a few balls that got touched, and the outfield was able to cover some ground. I think Jake Brown and Stanfield both got back to make plays in the outfield behind Ware.
With Curiel, Stanfield, and Brown, that might be the fastest outfield in the country.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
Stanfield, obviously, that's your anchor.
Right.
That's the guy carrying the baton in the outfield. But I was talking, we had Doug Thompson on, and I was like, how gratifying is that looking behind you and seeing that outfield where you're like, I'm not scared to throw anything as long as it doesn't go over the fence.
Right. Well, especially in a field in a stadium like that where it's just.
Oh yeah, you're playing in a major league ballpark. Like, boys, go stretch your legs, get out and run. And Stanfield tracks some down, and just the ease in which he can play center.
Right.
And I'm interested to see, because of how good he is in center, you'd hope to see the offense kind of come around because, like I said, 7 left on is brutal, even though he did get absolute hose job on a strikeout where he foul tipped it and the catcher didn't catch it, and he's like, I tipped that. And he was like, nope, see ya. And so he got rung up with people on. But the defense from LSU absolutely plays. Like, Broswell looks great at third. Yep. I know the offense hasn't come along yet, but, I mean, there's no question about Milam at short. You see Dickinson make,
Flash that leather, baby.
3 great plays. I think Bear Jones just got healed on one and just dropped it on a throw over. But even Bear Jones at first, like, he's been – what a conversation that was last year because you're going from Trey Morgan to one of the most unorthodox but also athletic first baseman maybe you've ever seen at LSU,
right,
to the prototypical type of first baseman, just a big old boy.
Big old boy.
Big target.
Bear. But, yeah, no, I mean, when you talk about the arms you saw last night for LSU with Ware, Cowan, and Kason Evans, coach, serious.
Well, and that tells me how much Jay wanted to win that baseball
100%.
game. Because you'll look up, and I know it's midweek, whatever, but that's an RPI game that absolutely plays.
Like,
the way that our RPI is calculated, to my knowledge, is like total wins from the team that you beat. Like, that helps your RPI a ton. And you're looking at Dallas Baptist, that's won the conference, I think, the last 2 years in Conference USA. That means that they're going to be in a regional. And so to be able to look back and have that win in your back pocket will help you a ton because the SEC pulls no punches. You're not going to win every series. You're going to lose some series. But to have that as an RPI bonus win, I think that was something that they put themselves in position for. And then to see the way that they did the pitching staff, whenever you had, Ware, Cowan, and Cooper Williams came in for a brief moment, flash, and he was like, no, get out. We're good. And then he went to who is currently rapidly in front of your eyes, evolving into your closer in Evans.
Man,
and he came in, and it was good afternoon, good night, tuck you to bed. Here's some nightmares because he is. DBU had no chance.
Well, and he's just. It's funny,
For being a freshman, he sure does got some shit to
That's
him.
what I was about to say. Seeing the two freshmen go in that moment with Williams and Evans, there's a very visual difference. Mm-hmm. Williams, to me, is excellent, and he's going to get it under control, and there are probably some nerves and things like that. Evans came on that mound confident as ever, comfortable, relaxed, and just started letting it rip. And obviously he gets helped out by Jared Jones in the big moment there, what was in the 8th, where Williams leaves 2-1 with, 1 out. Evans comes in, gets a double play ball, wasn't hit quite hard enough, so they only get the 1 out at second. Runners on the corners. No, there was no outs. 2-1 with no outs. That was the first out, and then Bear Jones makes a awesome catch to get the double play to close out that inning and help Evans
line it
out.
right to him.
Yep.
Yeah, step on the bag.
Steps on the bag.
This is one of the more interesting games to cover like this because of, I don't want to get too into it because this has become it's nearly a national topic, but the streaming wars were alive and well last night. There was 4 of them on, there was none of them on, to the point that, no, I'm just going to have to Venmo you because, let's pay for this thing.
Yep.
And so we put in the 5th inning, I was like, it's time to get them on the account.
Yeah.
I love playing in the mud, but I also have to watch the game at this point.
Right.
My brother was freaking the fuck out.
I could tell.
It was so funny. He's like, I don't understand. What is this? What's Flow Sports? What's going on?
It is so stupid that the biggest brand in college baseball has to be that difficult to watch. Mm-hmm. That's what I'll never – and I'm a young guy. I'm not trying to be some old man take, but it's so stupid that LSU baseball, you have to pay a $20 subscription to watch one game on a Wednesday night.
It's that one video.
I mean, I did it. I paid it so I could watch it.
Don't forget to cancel it.
I did it the second the game ended.
Yeah.
I'm on the app. I started watching on my phone. I'm on the app. The game's over. I went to the settings, cancel subscription.
Yeah.
To me, just why? Why can college baseball not figure something out?
That's just baseball in general.
Right, 100%. But to me, you don't think everybody in the country wanted to watch LSU versus Dallas Baptist?
Flow Sports will survive one more year.
Because of last
Because
night.
they got $20 from how many people do you think watched it? I saw 12,000 in a live chat at one point. So if all of those people ponied up, I don't know what 12,000 times 20 is, but I'd imagine the bottom line is pretty good for.
Pretty penny.
All you had to do was you didn't even have a score book. You didn't even have miles per hour. What are we paying for aside from just content?
It was unbelievable. I think Curiel went up to bat and they had some of his stats wrong.
They didn't have the Monday stats in.
They had Bear Jones with 1 home run. They said somebody's name wrong. I don't remember who it was, but they said somebody's name incorrectly, and I was like, "How did you get that wrong?" Oh, it was Cason Evans.
That's
I said, buddy,
deplorable.
Evans?
Yeah, we don't overthink it here.
It's not that complicated.
He's from Texas.
Right. It's not a Cajun name.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have to church this thing up, dirt.
Right.
Joe Dierte.
It was, it was so stupid that LSU baseball has to be that difficult to watch on a Wednesday night. And now you go into this weekend where you've got to do the whole shebang again. It's on D1 baseball this weekend, but it's still not on national television.
Chat, let me know if this is correct or not, but I do believe that there was a discount code that instantly vanished from D1 baseball. Love my guys over at D1 baseball, Kendall Rogers and the crew, but I think they saw a real opportunity, just like Flow Sports, to where, holy shit, LSU baseball is signing up for this thing, and it was like a 20% off to, let's go ahead and take that promo code away.
Well, and the other thing about Flow Sports last night is I do my subscription.
They try to make it the app.
Yep, you have to download the app. I downloaded the app, and then I tried to stream it from my phone to the TV.
And then you
got to get the app on the TV. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And then I get on there, and I'm having to search LSU versus Dallas Baptist. It's not the top thing on the app. They're showing some random NAIA baseball team playing. Yeah. And I'm like, I would if I'm not trying to find something else. It was so stupid. So stupid. But
Randy Jones in the chat went to the game for $38, a parking souvenir, Diet Coke, and a box of peanut M&Ms. Great. elite lineup of things to get at a ball game. Peanut M&Ms, Diet Coke.
Yeah,
no popcorn? Okay.
I'm not a big popcorn guy either.
I still have some. I've got some remnants over here I'm working on.
Yep.
We just got them out. A little blood in the mouth.
A
That's all right.
DC and the peanut M&Ms
is elite.
That's strong. That is strong, Randy.
Put the peanuts. Yeah. Put the peanuts in the freezer.
Solid.
Can't do that at the ball game.
No.
You put them in the crawl, get them a little warm.
But no, I mean, I was texting one of my buddies that, I was telling him that I'm about to subscribe to this Flow Sports deal to watch the game. He was like, honestly, we should have just went. He's like, we're about to pay a subscription to do this. We could have just got gas and a ticket. I was like, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
$38.
You're not wrong. Get a DC and some peanut M&Ms. Oof. Hang out with Randy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable. But ended up getting the game on, watched it. I enjoyed watching the Tigers last night. And it's obviously a big win for them in the future of this season when you talk about RPI and things like that. And I also think it's something that they're going to look back on and realize they learned a lot about guys tonight. I think Connor Ware, Kaysen Evans, and Zach Cowan are all going to be massive pieces of whatever run LSU goes on this season. If they make it to the College World Series, I think you look back and those three guys are going to play a huge role in how far LSU gets. I think Evans right now is the closer because he comes in, he's got the moxie you're looking for, the swag, and he's also got the arm.
He's got elite stuff. I don't think he threw. I think he threw one changeup that missed outside. Other than that, it was let the big dogs eating. I don't care if you know it, if she knows it, if you know it, if they know it. Fastball's coming.
Come on, and nothing you can do about
cheese.
It. Nothing you can do about it.
No, that was impressive to see, and just from an overall, I guess, if you want to talk about the play style and everything, that is something that I think will be probably overly talked about, just in terms of what LSU did with runners in scoring position. Like I said, left 15 on base, which is always a tough, I guess, pill to swallow, but you're going to leave people on base almost all the time. But their ability to hit with 2 outs and people in scoring position, that game could have been worse. But for LSU to avoid, I learned this yesterday, the inevitable 2 from our starting pitcher. And this is a Skip Bertmanism, which makes so much sense. And this is why he was elite at the position and why he's probably one of the greatest college baseball coaches of all time, if not the best. But he would always tell his starting pitcher, if we can avoid the inevitable 2, which is you can't. You go up, and you're inevitably going to give up 2 runs as a starting pitcher because there's 2 things that you want to avoid, and it usually leads to 2 runs, which is there's hitters, their first time through the lineup or their first time seeing you, that are never going to be more locked in than they are at that moment. They're keyed in on you, and there's a pitcher that will never be as ill-prepared as he is in his first inning through the lineup, get to see how my stuff feels in game, see how the ball feels, all of these different aspects that pitchers have to go through, and you're trying to kind of figure it out while hitters are keyed up just to get a hit.
Right.
And so that's how things kind of can snowball on you, and you end up giving up runs. And LSU was able to avoid that with Connor Ware. A little shades of Jared Poche, dare I say.
I like that.
Kind of looks like it. He also built like a hangman.
Yeah, no, he's stout.
Yeah, he looks like he's wearing a clothes hanger.
Well, I think he also slides into kind of a Griffin Herring kind of role, where right now he's kind of a midweek starter, but I think he can be one of these guys that you.
Yeah, I think you're going and
that trusted reliever.
Yeah, and we were going through, I believe it was Tuesday, we were looking through the pitching staff trying to figure out who was going to throw, and I was like...
No, you called it.
I'd seen Connor Ware in a minute. Last time he pitched, he was a starter through 3 innings and was very much...
Allowed 1 base runner.
Yeah, and I was going to say very much dialed in.
Yeah.
And then to have that combination of Cowan right behind him.
Right.
That's a 1-2 punch that, even if you had it last year... think about your Sunday would have been so much easier, but the amount of arms that you have with your starting 3 right now with Cade Anderson, Anthony Ianson, and Chase Schwartz, that'll get you through Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But to have these 2 on the back end, if you need Connor Ware to come in at any point of those 3 days, to have Zach Cowan kind of fill in that same role at any point of those 3 days, you feel really good about where you're at.
Well, and then you've got guys like Kaysen Evans on the back end.
Maverick Rizzi.
Just the list goes on and on.
And don't forget about Kidry.
Right. It really is special what LSU has on the bump and in the bullpen this season. As much as there's been some upsetting things here and there for LSU where it hasn't been perfect, a lot of that's been offensively. Because when you look at the guys they have on the mound, I mean, they've had, 2 bad innings all season? You have the inning you give up. Was that just 1 or 2 innings against Omaha that they give up those 5 runs?
It was 1 inning.
1 inning. And then last night they have the 1 inning they give up.
In the 5th?
They give up 3.
Right.
So out of all the innings, I don't know. I mean, you can count out how many innings they've played all year. There's been 2 bad ones.
Well,
other than that, it's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, Cooper Williams is going to be a player for you, but because of how loaded this pitching staff is, you face 2 guys, you walk 2 guys, 11 pitches, yank. See ya. Like, not playing this game. And last year you had to ride, like, no shade toward Christian Little, but the Christian Little experience, we're like, well, hopefully he figures it out.
Right.
And then you have nobody out, 2-1, you've thrown 15 pitches, and you're like, that 5-1 lead doesn't feel like it's 5-1.
Right.
And now, like, the ability to be able to bring in Case and Evans, like, go 2 and shut the door.
Yeah.
And that's what the Pin Goblins are.
Yes, the Pin
nasty.
Goblins.
Because that's not the only guys that they have, but I bring all of that up, and this is why the conversation started, is you slam the door with Case and Evans.
Yeah.
And you can figure out the rest of, like, the week, but that felt like a massive moment for LSU to be able to capitalize, because not only for, like, the team to believe in themselves and get, like, we don't want to be this team that gets a 5-1 lead, blows it in the 9th, and, like, that's what happened to DBU. They gave up, 11 unanswered to you say I don't even know the letters, Rio Grande Valley State, Texas, and they have no faith in their closer.
Yes.
But LSU feels like they found something in Case Evans, which is a guy that Jay has talked about a ton of, like, maybe we didn't realize it in the moment because he was a two-way guy, played shortstop and pitched a little bit, and, like, was very much had eyes for the draft. That's where he was trying to keep him from. He's like, it's one of those that I have to get. Yeah. And when Jay kind of puts his foot on the pedal for somebody he has to get, he usually makes it happen. Yeah. And you're seeing this recruiting class already pay off in spades with Curiel leading off, and now you look at the 3 guys that you have in the bullpen, and that is an elite class that is already making waves for you, and not to mention what you added from the transfer portal.
Right.
Because Daniel Dickinson is balling right now.
Yep.
And Stanfield in the outfield is something that you really can't replicate.
No, not at all. We're going to get back to the LSU base. We've got breaking news this morning.
No.
We have breaking news. I saw it in the chat. I didn't want to fully address it until I went on
Burt Reynolds?
and figured out if it was true. Nick Underhill on Twitter. This is true. Huge hire for the Saints. Bo Davis is expected to be hired by the New Orleans Saints, added to Kellen Moore's new coaching staff in New Orleans. LSU's defensive line coach is headed to New Orleans to join Kellen Moore and the Saints. This is it's a good hire for the Saints, but that's not really what we care about. This is a big hit for LSU football. I mean, Bo Davis is one of the most respected coaches in college football, and I would probably go to say he's the most respected defensive line coach in college football. This is originally reported by Luke Johnson of the Times-Picayune, and it was confirmed by Nick Underhill, which is what I waited on. Shout out to Nick and New Orleans.football. But this is a big hit for LSU. You know, I don't know fully what the effects will be, you know, roster-wise, things like that, because Bo Davis is a huge piece of what Brian Kelly was building with this staff. And this is a tough time of the year for something like this to happen, more importantly, because you're getting ready for spring football to get started. You just, you know, kind of finished wrapping up building your roster, and you're going to have the spring window opening up still. So your roster isn't set in stone. This hurts LSU football. This is a tough one for the Tigers, as Bo Davis, like we said, is headed to New Orleans to join Kellen Moore's coaching staff. Yeah, I mean, this hurts. Because, I mean, we went to fall camp last year, and you could see the instant impact Bo Davis made. You know, this is a room that didn't have very high expectations going into the season for LSU. And then on top of that, in the third game of the season, they lose their number one guy, Jacobian Guillory, and you really didn't have to worry about the outcome. He got the most out of that room with guys like Paez and Dominic McKinley and Ahmad Bro and Parashand, sliding over, and now he's headed to New Orleans. This is a big loss for LSU football and for Brian Kelly and Blake Baker's coaching staff, because he means a lot to the culture that's been built on that defense, and also in recruiting. I mean, he's the best in the country when it comes to defensive line coach. Obviously, you still have a coach in Kevin Peoples, who is a defensive line coach, and to me is the second best after Bo Davis. I don't know if it's a situation where he just kind of takes over and controls the full line as opposed to just the edge rushers. But right now, LSU football is without a defensive line coach because Bo Davis is on his way out. This is a position room where the coach has had a lot of turnover throughout Brian Kelly's tenure. He starts with Jamar Cain. He moves on to Denver to join Sean Payton. They go through all the things with Jimmy Lindsey and other coaches, and now you finally feel like you've got your guy in Bo Davis, and he's headed to New Orleans to coach professional football for the New Orleans Saints. I think Kelly will have had a different defensive line coach every year at LSU now, and this is a big hit. Lloyd, I haven't heard much from you over there.
I'm over here just thinking.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I mean,
it hurts.
Well, it's just the timing of it all, right?
Right.
Like, you would think that, I guess it is, if you're Brian Kelly and you want to be so small, trying to get tall, it's a great excuse, I guess, going into Clemson. But it's just the timing of it all, because you still have the second transfer portal window, where what was Bo Davis' probably biggest coup, biggest plus.
Yes. Yeah, that was
recruiting.
100%.
And you were trying to, what is it, Lamar Brown? From U-High.
Richard Anderson.
On both, obviously Lamar Brown plays offense and defensive line, but Richard Anderson, probably one of the best defensive linemen in the country, they were very much, it felt very comfortable with the situation at LSU and with Bo Davis. So the timing of it all stinks, because now you're going to you're about to start spring practice, and now you have Kevin Peoples. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did he ever coach the entire D-line, or has he always been an edge specialist?
I think at Missouri he was the entire D-line.
Well, and he's about to get a pay bump. That's the biggest, I guess, benefit to having Peoples on staff, is I think he was unheralded for his role and what he did and how he made that defensive line operate, especially on the edge position, where you saw them get after the quarterback, and you saw a fundamental change in how LSU played defensive line-wise. You had guys that probably shouldn't have been as good as they were, or they didn't live up to their potential until he got there. Savion Jones, you saw Swinson make a massive leap. You get Ahmad Bro to kick down and play inside. The changes that they made throughout the year, and a lot of that comes off the edge, and that was Gabe Relaford. All of these guys are premier players, and that's Kevin Peoples kind of he's molding them out of clay. But on the defensive line front, you saw, that's an Ahmad Bro. That was an Ahmad Bro special by Bo Davis. Don McKinley got better throughout the year. And then I mentioned the recruiting aspect of it. This is a tough spot to lose your guy. And I just, Sage, I was happy to see this happen when they plucked Terry Joseph away from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
You're that used to happen to LSU. I didn't see this coming, obviously.
Not at all.
But it has to bear the question of, is Bo Davis just if I'm going to coach professionally, I'm going to coach professionally. Because you have the NIL world, the transfer portal, all the mess that is college football. But he just feels like such a college football coach.
Right.
I don't know how that translates. Everybody gets yelled at in practice in the NFL, but it seems like it was a college football special for him to be able to work with, college age kids, be able to influence them. If you didn't listen, you were walking. It was pretty much my way or the highway, if you want to put it that way. But he was making you better, but it was very much tough love. I don't know how that translates to the NFL, where they're getting paid 15 times what you're making. If you're going to grab my face mask and bark at me, buddy, that's not going to play here. And so it's an interesting fit for sure. And if Bo Davis was coaching anywhere else, the Saints had hired him, I would be like, what a hire.
Right.
But this is hitting too close to home because the timing of it, you kind of left LSU with their dick in their hand, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm working to get a
tweet
social
out.
media post out.
Filibustering as long
I
as
appreciate
I could.
it. But yeah, no, I mean, the timing of it is the worst part, and that's what's going to hurt LSU the most in this situation is it's really backed them into a corner where now you have to make this move. You have to make something happen on the defensive line front. I think obviously Kevin Peoples is the first thought. And to me, that would be the simplest solution to this problem is Kevin Peoples just becomes your defensive line coach in totality. No longer an edge specialist. He's now just your defensive line coach. Because if I'm correct in my thinking, he was the defensive line coach for Missouri, in totality, not just a defensive ends coach. And so he obviously has the ability and the awareness, but this is still a big loss for LSU. I mean, to me, Bo Davis was the biggest hire that was made in the reset of the defensive coaching staff by LSU. Obviously, Baker was huge, getting him to leave Missouri and come to LSU. Corey Raymond was a big hire. You can go down the list. Bo Davis was sitting in a pretty nice spot in Austin, and LSU was able to go in, get him away from Texas before they joined the SEC, and kind of start to rebuild a culture on that defensive front for LSU. And now he's headed to New Orleans to join Kellen Moore.
And Kevin Peoples at Missouri, assistant coach for the defensive line, working with the edge position. So he, at least at Missouri, he has never been a just straight up defensive line coach. He's got, 30 years of coaching experience. So I don't think it would be the biggest challenge for him, but it does take away his fastball in a sense of,
right,
this is what I do well. This is how I can make you better by spending my time only on this spot. And this is all I work on. Give me my 4 edge guys, go hunt, and they're going to be better at the end of the year. So it does make me think that there is a world in which they hire a defensive line coach. If I had an answer for this, I would probably be doing something else. But I don't know the list of defensive line coaches off the top of my head. I saw, the first thought obviously was Jamar Cain.
Right.
But he's in Denver.
He's in a good spot.
Right, and he did, we had a great relationship with Jamar, and he loved LSU, and I think that was more of a, I think it's not the biggest secret in the world. He didn't like working for Kevin Peoples. For Matt House.
Matt House, yep.
That was very much, that was put out into the ether by himself. So I don't know if that's something that you can go and revisit the conversation about coming back to LSU, but, if you told me I was working for Sean Payton in Denver, Colorado, and that's a pretty great gig, and instead of having to throw the polo back on and go beat the streets for recruiting, that's why you see people leaving college for the NFL, not people leaving the NFL to go to college. So I think he has ridden the elevator up to the top floor, where why would I go back down unless I just really have a passion for not only LSU, but I just love college ball.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like, Broncos made the playoffs.
Right. They're building something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it, like Lloyd said, if I had an answer for who LSU was going to go grab, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Be Wojbomb and selling my phone on the internet.
Right. To me, my first instinct, and me and Lloyd, have both said it, Kevin Peoples, just kind of getting shifted over and not being a defensive end specialist, and just becoming your defensive line coach. But I would still, like Lloyd said, go to assume LSU's going to make a hire and bring somebody in. I don't know how big of a splash it will be just because of the timing. But to me, LSU has to do something, because when you talk about the recruiting class, that's where it starts with me. As much as you want to continue to build a culture and something special at LSU, when you look at the Louisiana recruiting class, you have a guy like Lamar Brown, and to me, Richard Anderson is the one. In my opinion, he's the best player in Louisiana high school football. and now he's been committed to LSU. I think since Bo Davis has been the coach of the defensive line, and now obviously something could very much change because of this move. I don't know fully. I have no inside sources. I have no input outside of just a hunch that the number one defensive lineman in the state of Louisiana, and then obviously you have Lamar Brown, who plays both ways, offense and defense. That's where LSU can get her. Because I think the guys on LSU's roster right now, as much as they're committed to Bo Davis, I think Peoples obviously has a relationship with them. I think a lot of them are from the state and love Louisiana. So I'm not too stressed out about that aspect as I am about kind of future recruiting classes, especially this 2026 class.
I guess the first name that pops to mind now that I've been able to digest this, you could get a twofer here. Go to USC, grab Eric Henderson, New Orleans native, and there's been a recent signee that joined USC that is also a Louisiana native that had this was his lead recruiter. And Jakeem Stewart. Obviously, that would be an interesting. I'm sure people would take back a lot of what they said about Big Jakeem if he were able to come in tow with Eric Henderson. And I know a lot of it was NIL based, but he did have a relationship with the one coach, to my knowledge, that's on staff at USC that's from New Orleans. But you could go try and take a swing at him and bring him over from USC to LSU, and that's definitely a conversation worth having. Obviously, he's from the NFL. Coach with the Rams, and a lot of his success is maybe predicated on having Aaron Donald on that defensive line. That's an easy parallel to draw. But Eric Henderson is a name you've got to at least kick the tires on.
Yeah, at least see what can happen.
And see if you can bring Big Jakeem with him, because that would be
massive.
Yeah, I mean, say what you want about Jakeem Stewart, I feel like he's going to be a pretty good football player at some point in his career.
Just look at him.
Yeah, that'll play. So that's one name. Yeah, that I was able to pull.
No, I like that.
Or the other inevitable.
Oh, Pete Jenkins?
No, but a Pete Jenkins disciple. Coached here before. Loves working the D-line. Loves recruiting.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Has national championship pedigree.
I know who you're talking about.
Bring back the Rosie Finch boy.
Yeah.
Bring Edo back. I mean, let's bygones be bygones.
Water under the bridge.
Where else would he want to be?
Nowhere. Nick Underhill on Twitter says, I was hearing the Saints wanted Bo Davis as the defensive line coach even before they knew for sure who the DC was going to be. He's one of those guys other coaches hold in the highest regard. Obviously, it's a good hire for the Saints, but I'm pretty pissed off at the Saints because for them to go out and do what they did yesterday, where they say they're sticking with Derek Carr, they believe that they can win with him. They're not going to do a full reset, and they're just going to keep doing the same cap space type deal that they've been doing the last 5 years that they've been just a forgotten about franchise. And now they're going to go snag LSU football's star defensive line coach. I mean, what a mess of a franchise. And obviously, that's a homer take for me as an LSU fan more than I am a Saints fan. I'm pissed at the Saints for making a good hire because Bo Davis is a good hire. You know, if you're the New Orleans Saints, this is a good hire in going to get Bo Davis as your defensive line coach. But for LSU football, it leaves it really pisses me off because you're not a serious franchise if you're the Saints. And you're making moves that affect an actual serious program in LSU football.
Well, they're just in two different spots at the moment. Like, if you look at the two spots, they're in two different spots. The Saints 100%. Are trying to rebuild. LSU is already building towards, that's, I don't think it's a secret to say that it's pretty much national championship aspirations are very much
college
palpable.
Football playoff or bust, and the national championship expectations are.
So I get why you would leave. I honestly do, because hearing from the professional ranks and what their coaching schedule is like versus a college football coach's schedule, night and day. That's a totally different animal that you're it's almost a I don't know what the pay is like in the NFL. I'm not sure of what these contracts look like. I'll note that he was very highly compensated for his services at LSU. But if you're telling me you can pay me in time, I think a lot of coaches will take that at this point to where I can have multiple days, weeks, years that in totality add up because I don't have to do anything in the offseason in terms of I'm jet setting around, I'm driving the streets, I'm trying to get recruits, I'm trying to retain players.
Right.
Now it's just we sign into a contract, put my feet up, get a couple breaths, take a vacation, and then we'll come back and coach football again.
No, yeah, I understand it from both the Saints and Coach Davis's perspective. One, for the Saints, it's a good hire. For Coach Davis, like Lloyd said, you might as well just go to a more organized situation compared to what college football is
organized
right now.
in terms of like your time.
Right.
I don't think the Saints are an organized franchise.
Not a franchise.
No.
But professional versus college.
But he was a guy that, like, this is probably identified by Brandon Staley, who runs the Vic Fangio system, and Bo Davis has ties to Fangio and has worked in the NFL before. So this is a great hire for the Saints, but it is the jumping of ship that going from what would you put the cap for the Saints wins? Maybe 6 or 7? But he's putting together a hell of a staff to this point.
100%.
Like, the Saints are making moves. I was talking to my guy at Rouse's that checks.
Your buddy.
I have 2 of them. One works the checkout. The other one does the food in the back.
I need this king cake.
Get you a big run.
I need it. It's my drug.
But we always talk a little Saints. He loves them. And he's like, oh, what do you think about the staff? I was like, I'm actually pretty impressed that they're able to, like, the hires that they're making. It feels like a I don't know, competent franchise at the moment where you're putting all these pieces together of, like, I love the Brandon Staley hire. A lot of people don't like him because of what happened at his run as a head coach as the Chargers, but whatever, he's just focused on defense and running defense. He put together 2 top-ranked defenses in the NFL. And so I think that's somebody that was under the radar, probably felt like nobody really wanted to touch him because of, I mean, he did lead the Chargers to a playoff berth in his first year, but blew a massive lead in the playoffs, and a lot of that was how he wanted to play the analytics of football and went for it a lot, and like that, I guess, spurred people the wrong way. But his coaching on the defensive side is pretty much it's held in high regard. So the staff that the Saints are putting together is good. Like Terry Joseph, another good. Like, it's a young staff that they're throwing together with experience everywhere. A lot of Louisiana ties to it, and so I'm not nearly the Saints fan that I am for LSU football, so that's where it kind of hits you right in the dick.
Right.
Like, the Saints are not going to try to ruin my Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
So, another name, former Saints coach that LSU did try to hire, Ryan Nielsen.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville Jaguars defensive coordinator for 1 year. Buffalo Bills senior defensive assistant right now.
Yeah.
There's a world. I mean, obviously he flirted with LSU. I think Sean Payton very much, said no. LSU stopped pilfering with my program from within after the Joe Brady experiment that came up aces, and Sean Payton was trying to kind of stow him away. And this is a guy that helps me a ton, but I'm not going to say it. And then you see the rise of Brady since, where obviously he goes for LSU for 1 year and then is hired as an offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. That place is a dump. And then he gets kicked down to
coach for the
Bills, and then elevated again to offensive coordinator, and now had serious burn as a potential head coach. Nielsen was kind of in that same circle of held in that regard by at least Sean Payton, and then to see him get a defensive coordinator at least for a year, I guess they didn't feel like that experiment worked in 2024, but it's somebody that has Louisiana ties, as he coached for the Saints for 5 years.
Right.
And obviously, like I said, LSU tried to make a run at him once before. If that's somebody that wants to come and coach defensive line for LSU, maybe.
Yeah, you have to pay up. You 100%. The money would have to be what talks.
The Saints pay that buyout?
Yeah, I would assume.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints
so you take that money.
Right, and you go put it somewhere else. But yeah, I think there's another name in the chat. Mike Elston. Mark Cumby in the chat says he is the defensive line coach for the Chargers. But he was, Central Michigan, Cincinnati, Notre Dame. So essentially, he has been with Brian Kelly throughout his career.
Yuck.
And that could be a guy that Kelly makes the phone call to, obviously, somebody he's comfortable with. I do like the name that just popped up in the chat, Spectrum Wellcare. Kyle Williams.
Nah.
Obviously he steps away from the Ruston defensive coordinator job to pursue other opportunities.
That's the most, dude, not a bad name, but that's the most Tiger droppings name 100%. Of all time.
When I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a great, why not?
Yeah, no, at this point, if you're LSU, they make the phone call, where you get a guy that's a Louisiana guy, has high school ties as a high school coach in the state. If you're worried about recruiting and that's going to be your biggest stress and you just need somebody to fill this position for now, I wouldn't mind Peoples getting a little bit of a pay bump and his role being more increased, and you still go get a guy like Kyle Williams to come in and be focused on defensive line and recruiting. But it's a tough spot time-wise for this to happen for LSU, just because spring football starts on March 8th, I think is the first spring practice, at least that, on the schedule that the media was sent. So, you're about a week away from that. The spring window for the transfer portal opens up in the coming months. And right now, LSU's in the middle of the biggest offseason of Brian Kelly's tenure. The expectations right now going into next season are as high as they have been for Brian Kelly at LSU. And this is probably the biggest hit that he's had when it comes to his time here as well, as Bo Davis is headed to New Orleans to join Kellen Moore's coaching staff and is leaving Brian Kelly's staff. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I when I saw it originally in the chat, I didn't want to acknowledge it until I did my due diligence. I appreciate everybody in the chat for getting it in here. And then I waited and I saw on Twitter the truth behind it. And Bo Davis is headed to New Orleans and is no longer on the LSU coaching staff. So it's going to be interesting to see what Brian Kelly and the Tigers do as they try to fill this hole, a huge hole that's being left by Coach Davis because of what he means in the locker room. This is one of the most respected coaches in the country when it comes to defensive line. Obviously, you've seen his effect on the field firsthand. Watching, to me, this defensive line for LSU perform last season where the expectations were probably here, and he was able to make them at least play here and never really drop lower than that, where he got the absolute most out of that room.
It's a loss for sure.
This is a massive loss.
But LSU, quick turnaround, and I would imagine they do make a hire.
Yes.
At least that's where all things are trending. And Wolfgang, yes, I did see it. I told you I'm an elite lurker on Tiger droppings. Great name drop. He was the one that brought up Eric Henderson. If I see a good take on there, I'm gonna speak it into this microphone. Speaking of speaking into microphones, 8 o'clock, Chris Blair, the voice.
Got him.
So we will go to break and get him set up, and he will talk a little Tigers and all things Chris Blair.
Let's do it.
Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by Hebert's Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, Hebert's Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. Hebert's can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. Hebert's Lawn Maintenance.
Hey, Tiger fans, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit us, Tom and Wright Granning, at Go Mart on the Go Deli.
Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip.
located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on your left.
Also, stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff.
Where everyone is family.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Keep pushing, can't let you slow up, bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up, bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up, bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing.
All right, welcome back in here, hour number 2, as we open up the phone lines. We've got the voice, Chris Blair, joining us this morning. How are you doing? How's it going?
Good, guys. You hear me all right?
Got you good. Good to talk to
Look
you.
at us. It only takes 2 tries. Yeah.
There you go.
Starting it off here, obviously there were some breaking news this morning. I don't know if you've seen. Bo Davis is headed to New Orleans to join Kellen Moore's coaching staff and is leaving, the LSU Tigers. Obviously, can't go too in-depth on it, but just what are your instant reactions and thoughts?
Yeah, I did see that early this morning, and I think it's a tough loss for LSU. Obviously, Bo Davis, his success, and not only what we saw last year, which, in my opinion, a defense that steadily got better as the year went along. Still not where they want it to be, but the improvement from the year prior, I think you could, see tangibly. And I think Bo Davis and his working with Kevin Peoples, the edge rusher coach for LSU defensively, I think they really did a good job. So I think that's a huge loss. Is it a huge shock? Not really. A complete overhaul down the road in New Orleans of the Saints, and with the new head coach, I think they probably look around and say, who do they want to add to the staff, and didn't have to look far. So I think sum it up with I think it is a loss. It's going to be a challenge to replace a guy like him this time of the year. But not only that, just simply I think he's one of the best at his craft. But not surprised.
And you say you're not surprised, and obviously LSU's in a spot where they have to maybe make a hire. Any instant thoughts of who you would look at, or do you think that they just elevate Kevin Peoples, or would this be a quick search, go grab somebody because of just the time frame? That's what really puts you behind the barrel here.
Well, I think Kevin Peoples certainly. I'm guessing here. I'm assuming if he's interested in that, they certainly would have that conversation. And frankly, I've known Kevin for a lot of years. He was with Willie Fritz when I was at Georgia Southern, and Kevin's, number one, a great coach, and number two, a great guy. I don't know the inner workings as to whether or not he really likes to specialize, because that's what he's done of late, and he has been phenomenal at developing defensive edge rushers. But he has experience overall as a defensive line coach. But, I think, again, it's late in the cycle. You got spring football starting up, but it's not the worst timing in the world. So I think they probably I think they still have the time, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Coach Kelly's the type that's going to panic and rush. At least that's not been his MO, as far as I know, working with him. So I think they probably do look around. Maybe, I'm sure every coach has a short list of names, but they look around, look at the opportunities, and then probably have that conversation with somebody like Coach Peoples and see if that's something he's interested in.
When you talk about, coaches leaving college to go into professional football, especially coaches that have been coaching college football for so long, how much do you think the new dynamic of college football with NIL and the transfer portal and all of those things plays into them leaving to go coach professional football?
That's a great question, and I'll tell you why. Because a lot of us have had this discussion, over dinner, or just in conversation, and that is, there's always been this theory, and it's not a theory, it's actually true, that you have success at a certain level. There's always going to be thought of, how can I apply this to the very highest level of a given sport. That's been around forever, and we've seen success and non-success stories there. But I do think that you bring up the fact that today's college football is not all that different, to be honest with you, and every day getting closer to a pro-style model. And, you can argue good or bad. That's not really we don't have the time to do that today. But I think because of that, I think that probably lends coaches who maybe had thought of themselves only as a college coach, whether it's because they liked it more or they just felt like that's where they were best, where maybe now you start thinking about that a little bit more. It's not all that different. I mean, every year you're having to make sure that you're keeping the guys you're coaching this year that have eligibility, while at the same time scanning the entire college football realm to see if there's somebody out there you want to add. So anyway, I think that's an interesting addition to now the conversation of where guys in college, when they get an opportunity to go pro, are they more apt to do it? I think the answer is yes, and I think that's why.
To turn the page here to LSU baseball, obviously they get a big win last night over Dallas Baptist in their biggest game of the season so far. A ranked midweek matchup. What was your instant reaction, your thoughts after watching that game yesterday evening?
Well, for the 10th straight year, my first thought was, I can't believe I'm not there, getting to see this matchup again. This type of non-conference action. I mean, I've missed the Houston tournament, I've missed the Frisco tournament, I'll miss the Classic this week. So that was number one. But number two, it was a huge win. I know there was a lot of concern 4 games into the season that, we lost one, which again, those things happen in college baseball. But you could tell by Coach Johnson's post-game comments and even the pre-game comments going in to this week and actually into the Nicholls game on Monday, that he was looking for this offense. He thinks this offense should be able to hum pretty well most given nights. And I think you kind of saw a challenge there. And so I thought they played extremely well. I thought they got some great performances in a starting role for the second time from Connor Ware. Overall, I thought, Daniel Dickinson certainly put in a great game. But, Dallas Baptist is a team that we all know every year their goal now is to get to Omaha. And they've done an incredible job building that program into a really a staple in college baseball. So to go on a neutral field, big building, and perform the way they did, I think it sets them up to have a really good weekend in Frisco later on.
At this point in the year, obviously you have a small sample size, but what would you say that LSU baseball's biggest strength is right now? Because a lot of people are focused on the offense, and I think it's because you can almost put the pitching staff to the side and be like, I feel like you're pretty good on that side of the ball.
I'll be honest. You probably could ask me this same thing next week, Lloyd, and I may have a different answer. Mm-hmm. But I really feel like in the SEC, you got to be deep in the pitching staff, and not just in the SEC, but certainly if you have dreams of going to Omaha and pulling another title just because of the grind that the College World Series is. So having said that, I just have been very impressed with the number of arms we've seen so far. When, like we talked about last week, we still haven't seen, some of the returning guys, namely Gavin Guidry, due to an injury that we didn't know about until earlier this week. But I just think that's what I'm excited the most about, is we're still getting to see some of the younger arms and the new arms, as well as guys who either coming off surgery or have been out for a year, or made improvements from last year to this year. And to me, I think the offense, you got to have offense. You got to be able to score runs, certainly in this conference. But every team is built and equipped to score runs. So what's the difference maker? To me, it's always pitching. And the more talent and the deeper you are, I think the better success you're going to have, not only in the conference, but if everybody stays healthy. You certainly have the advantage when you try to go to Omaha and win, a national title in 2 weeks.
Is it fair to say that this is the deepest, probably, team that Jay Johnson's had since his tenure at LSU started?
I think so. And only time will tell, because I think, my thought this year compared to the 2023 team was, we had some known commodities. Now, obviously, we had no clue that Paul Skeens was going to be Paul Skeens.
It was Grant Taylor.
Yes.
He's thrown 105. Exactly right.
And which Grant, by the way, also is well on his way to a great professional career. But you're right. So, depth versus 2023. I mean, I think there's some unknowns because there's some newcomers that are going to be everyday guys that we're just now starting to see on a consistent basis, as well as, look at the freshmen that are already playing, significant innings and getting significant at bats. So for me, I would say yes, just because I think maybe it's a little more unknown, because when you look back at that 2023 team, maybe we didn't think so going into the season, but it was depth that helped them bring that 7th title back to Baton Rouge. But I think the depth is even deeper here this year. We'll just have to wait and see. And again, knock on wood, as many guys as possible, if not everybody, can be healthy all season long, because the talent is it's ridiculous. I mean, it really is. He and his staff have done a tremendous job. When I go down in the clubhouse now, it's really humbling, simply because everybody there is 6'4", 6'5", 6'9". They're just huge, hulking monsters walking around that clubhouse. And it's an impressive array of talent. I mean, when you look at this team getting off the bus, and I know that doesn't translate into wins, but when they get off the bus, I don't care what team is on the other dugout or in the other dugout, they're going to take notice. This is a big team. This is a talented team, and this is a dangerous team.
Yeah, you bring up the freshman arm. Speaking of freshmen, Derek Curiel through the start of the season has just been beyond impressive and has been the talk of the town. What have you seen from the freshman for LSU?
I got to tell you guys, and this may be the first time I've said this publicly. There's so many things about him that remind me of Dylan Cruz, and again, I'm not going to put the pressure on him right now to say he is the next Dylan Cruz. What I mean by that is his swing doesn't look like a freshman. Just taking BP, just hitting off a tee, it just doesn't look that way. And then his confidence level. And I think right now, again, it is a small sample size, but to me, his ability to slow the game down, especially at the plate, for a freshman is again a lot like what we saw with Dylan Cruz. So while I say there are some similarities there to the entire skill set, the confidence level, and again that ability to slow the game down, it reminds me a lot of Dylan Cruz. And I said for 3 years, we were all very blessed to have the opportunity to watch a guy like Dylan Cruz for 3 years play college baseball. I'm not, I don't want to crown that yet. And I didn't say that about Dylan until maybe the back end of his sophomore season. But to me, that's the start Derek Curiel is off to.
And you mentioned seeing Dylan Cruz for 3 years. I'm putting you on the spot here. I think I heard this from D1 Baseball. That got my wheels turning a little bit last night after the game. Is it true that Curiel is a draft-eligible sophomore next year? No, putting the cart before the horse. But it feels like people are expecting 3 years, and I looked into it last night, and his birthday certainly lines up to be a draft-eligible sophomore.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. I don't know that for a given fact, but that's what we've heard. And again, just so happens his birthday possibly lines up that way, but when you watch him out there, you're like, that sounds about right. If his birthday doesn't line up, he could go do it as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, he is beyond impressive so far for LSU. And last one here, talking baseball, Jared Jones, the growth that he's made at the plate, going from his freshman season where he's swinging for the fences every single time to being a well-rounded batter. Just talk about that growth that he's had.
One of the things, guys, again, a handful of games into the season that stands out. Last year I thought Jared did a tremendous job in the offseason, seeing a lot of breaking balls, a lot of sliders, and I thought he did improve. from his freshman season. What is impressive this year is I think and it'll be interesting, I haven't had a chance to talk with him, but I want to ask him, where he thinks, who helped him in a two-strike approach. And I think that's where he has made, at least early on this season, has made leaps, at least from what I've seen. And I go back to, a game earlier in the season, you're wanting, in fact, I think it was, the loss. To Omaha. I mean, there was an opportunity there where, he could change the game with one swing of the bat and call it a night. And again, you got ducks on the pond. Be great to send one over the fence, and goodness knows he has the chance to do one on any given moment in the blink of an eye. But once he got down 2 strikes, then he was trying to put the ball in play, and he ended up driving in an RBI single. So I can tell there's a difference now about, okay, I've got a couple of pitches here where if he makes a mistake, I'm giving it everything I got. But by the same token, my job is to get the next man up, and I think he's done a great job in improving that. And if that's the case, he's going to be a nightmare for pitchers throughout the season, beyond what he already is.
Right. And you talked about Bear Jones' approach a little bit changing. Obviously, it's something where he's seeing a lot more pitches, and I feel like that's kind of permeated throughout the lineup. What's your feeling about this LSU offensive approach, as it seems to be more suited towards what he has in the lineup? It's a lot of speed, trying to turn it over. I'm sure you got a chance to watch the game last night, where there's a lot of bunting, suicide squeezes, that type of deal. Do you think that's something that will? Obviously, it felt like it was an emphasis to take more bases, to be able to run more. Do you think that's something that can play well enough into an Omaha run? Because you saw Kentucky play this style in 2023, where you never were really that intimidated by it. That racked up a lot of wins, but when it came down to it, it wasn't an offense that really struck fear in you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where Jay wants to be. I mean, you got to think about it. He and Kentucky's head coach are great friends, and he talked a lot all season when we talked about the SEC. I mean, Kentucky was one of the teams he brought up just simply because of doing what you said they did. But I think LSU, to go back to the question about depth, I think I had several opportunities over the last several years to talk to Coach, once a week during the coaches show and multiple times during the week just doing games. And obviously we've talked about on record, about adding more speed, being more aggressive on the base paths, a little more hit and run, a little bit of small ball. And Jay has always been clear. Whatever my roster can do for us, we're going to utilize. Our job is to get them on, get them over, and get them in. And we don't care if it's done by home runs, if it's done by sack bunts, if it's done by stolen bases, double steals, you name it. But he always said that's going to be dictated on our strengths as an offense. And I really truly believe him. I mean, do you want to take the bat out of the hand out of, Dugas or the whole list of guys, Tommy White, I mean, Jared Jones. But I think this roster and the talent that and Joe Bear. I mean, you didn't want to do that. So I think this year, with the addition of some more speed, once you get aboard, I think you can be more aggressive. You still have some very good hitters, as we talked about. Eric Curiel, one of them, very precision-like with the bat. So now all of a sudden you have the ability, if need be, or want to play small ball, play fastball, whatever you want to do, while at the same time you still have plenty of power in that lineup. That nope, in this situation with 2 men in scoring position, we're gonna let our guys swing away and see what we can do. So I think it just makes that LSU that much more tough to play. So it's kind of like we can play that when we need to or want to. But we also can just get up there and we will mash out, 14 hits and pound out 10 runs. I think, again, that just speaks to how talented this team is and how formidable they may be.
The voice
it's nice
of
to have options.
Yes.
Played 15 position players last night.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So
just
that's way too much
Jay,
talent.
I mean, here he's done it again. He's created a problem for himself.
It really is his biggest problem.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
CB, what's your schedule like going forward? When do you make the full transition over to the press box and old Alex box?
Well, we'll have Alec box, by the way.
Alec box.
No, I'm just joking. Yeah,
Alexandria.
I like to get that in there because everybody.
He's a war hero.
Not everybody. but a lot of people, Bill Franquez.
There you go.
And I've told this story before. Bill Franquez, I've asked him multiple times. In fact, I think I ask him at least once a year. We're good. Alec Box? Yep, Alec Box. That's what the family called him. That's what they wanted us to call it, and that's what I call it. But I digress. We got 3 more regular season basketball games and then a trip to Nashville. So this weekend, obviously, I'll be in Starkville. Jeff Palermo's handling play-by-play for us this week. Did a great job last night. He'll do a great job Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with baseball. And then Lexington and Texas A&M. Finish up the regular season, and then who knows? March Madness is what it is, and we'll go to Nashville. But once the final basketball game is over, then it is a full transition. It'll be baseball 100% of the time, and thankfully, baseball is a long season, so I do miss out on some of the matchups like I did last night, and certainly will this weekend. But when the SEC starts, it's the best college baseball on the planet, so I won't miss any of that.
Yep. Well, we'll be ready and excited to listen to you call some baseball, and best of luck calling LSU basketball as they close out the season. We appreciate your time this morning, coming and hanging out and talking with us.
You got it, guys. Have a great week. Have a great weekend.
All right, you as
Appreciate
well.
you.
The voice of the LSU Tigers, Chris Blair. Great insight. Great stuff. I mean, how about that Curiel line? When he opened it up with I don't know if I've said this out loud before. Lloyd shot me a little.
Put it on the ticker. Yeah.
I know. I shot a little text to Sam. I said, buddy, 8:12 a.m. Go ahead and mark that down.
Mark that tape.
Get that clip cut. All right, we're going to get that put out. But great stuff. And even the stuff on Bo Davis, and awesome insight on Kevin Peoples, somebody that he's obviously had a relationship with for years. I think that's probably the biggest thing, looking back, this move by Bo Davis to go to New Orleans, that Kevin Peoples hires even more of a huge deal for LSU. It's made it 10 times more. But as important as it was before last season, right now, it's so important because of the move that Bo Davis has made. I did see on Twitter, though, one Lamar Brown has tweeted out, "My recruitment doesn't change for me. Tigers still number 1." So, great news on the LSU football front as the top player in the state of Louisiana, a two-way offensive line, defensive line star out of U-High on LSU's campus. His recruitment has not shifted due to the Bo Davis news, according to him on Twitter.
I wonder if that means he's playing offense.
Who knows? A little Travis Hunter in the trenches.
That would be wild.
Would that not be the crazy Trench Hunter? That's him. That's who he'd be. Trench Hunter.
A bit dangerous, maybe.
I mean, probably the most dangerous thing you can do on a football field.
Iron Man
is play O-line and D-line. Like, imagine your left tackle being your nose tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a stud. Like, I mean, right now he's doing it at one of the highest levels in the state of Louisiana as he's playing at University High School against 5A schools like Catholic. He's going both ways, but I mean that SEC schedule is a different monster. But it is good news to hear that it hasn't rocked his recruitment in the way that we probably expected the second we heard it. But we will have Joe Schwartz join us at 8:30 this morning to talk LSU women's basketball and close it out here on this Thursday. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Well, the Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
48 Insurance Agency, established in 1946, helping you with your home, auto, commercial, life and health insurance needs. Around in Baton Rouge at 4275 Government Street and online at 48agency.com. Whatever insurance you're in the market for, home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health, get in touch with 48 Insurance Agency, 48agency.com, or give them a call at 225-383-0682. 48 Agency.
Get Gordon. And get it done. Yeah, everybody know Gordon in a 225. And he done link with Big Four. He got buku ties, Ferrari sliding, flying in a new coupe ride. And every time I ride by, I see a brand new sign. I'm with Gordon, I know that he gon' get it done. Whether it's a big truck crash or a hit and run, recovery funds, he fighting to get a ton. Mike Epps, man, we all about the Benjamin. Handling injuries, man, are you kidding me? Gordon McKernan, that's champion energy. Yeah, family man with a family plan. Get Gordon, he gon' fix it like a handyman. Get Gordon, and get it done.
Welcome to Trifecta.
Trifecta Sports Therapy in Baton Rouge. Recover, repair, restore. At Trifecta, they believe in total body wellness. Trifecta gets the body back to its full potential. Whether you're a youth or pro athlete, a pre or postnatal mom, or if you lead an active lifestyle or a senior citizen, Trifecta has the class, the sports massage, the sports therapist, the stretch therapist, or the equipment like infrared sauna, cold plunges, and golf simulators to find your best. Find Trifecta online at trifectasportstherapy.com or check out the beautiful facility today, 8221 Goodwood. Trifecta Sports Therapy.
Hey, Tiger fans, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit us, Tom and Wright Granning, at Go Mart on the Go Deli.
Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip.
Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on your left.
Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff,
where everyone is family.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Click Here Digital, the home of the Jordy Culotta Show. Online at clickheredigital.com. If you're looking to set Google ads, set social media campaigns, learn about SEO, display video, or even creative, Click Here Digital has the answer for you. Online at clickheredigital.com or email me directly, Jordy at clickheredigital.com.
Family calls family. That saying resonates even more as your family grows. And we can't seem to stop growing. Meet the newest member of the Get Gordon family, Penny's cousin Rosie. Rosie already knows, the larger your family, the more people you have to lift you up during trying times. Just like at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, we've grown to over 200 team members with over 50 local attorneys. So whether you pick Penny, employ Ellie, roll with Rosie, or Get Gordon, we want to be your lawyers for life.
Your lawyers for life.
Phil's Oyster Bar, a staple of South Louisiana since 1945, located in Southdowns Shopping Center and
Can you hear me?
at philsoysterbar.com. If you log online, you can learn about the private party schedule, the catering menu, and even order online. Daily lunch specials Monday through Friday. Learn about the history when Gus Piazza took it over in the early 70s. made it an absolute stop-in for everyone who came through Baton Rouge, and now Anthony, his son, carrying on the tradition. Phil's Oyster Bar, Southdown Shopping Center, and online, philsoysterbar.com.
It's rare to find someone you can count on when it's go time. It's even more rare to find someone you can count on, well, all the time. At Sunshine, we're proud to offer the John Deere equipment you need and the team can depend on and off the field. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Yeah, right there. Now I'm focused on getting deposits. Evil in the way, now I'm just driving around it. They said I need a soul searching, I already found it. I unlocked my other side, now I'm sounding astounded.
All right, welcome back. Closing out this Thursday edition, this news-breaking Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. We've got LSU assistant women's basketball coach Joe Schwartz joining us this morning. Coach, how's it going?
It's good. It's good. Live from Tuscaloosa.
T-Town.
Oh, and they put you in the penthouse suite. I see that.
Oh, I don't know about that. Embassy suites, but good old Tuscaloosa. Mom's a Bama grad, so I have to be careful what I say. But yeah, we're excited. Late tip-off again tonight. SEC Network, another top 20 road game for the Tigers. We're ready to play. It's winding down the regular season, but we know what lies ahead of us, and we've got to sprint through the finish line of this regular season to get ready for the postseason.
Amen. Yeah, no, this is an exciting time. To me, probably the most impressive win for the Tigers this season, this past weekend, as they rally back in that second half against Kentucky with just a dominant third quarter. To me, that team that played that third quarter is the best team in the country. I mean, I'll take them up against anybody. Talk about that game, the experience, the shift from the first half to the second half, maybe what happened during that halftime period between, as it was all in all impressive win for the Tigers.
Yeah, it was a very impressive win. We were very, very happy to get out of Lexington with the win. Tough crowd, sold out arena, 6,000 fans in Memorial. They've redone that arena recently, so it's real nice now. But we started off a little slow, which the past couple of games we've actually started off hot in the first quarter. Neither team could really make a shot, and then in the second quarter they kind of pulled away. But that last minute of the second quarter was big for us. We got it down to 12, I believe. Mm-hmm. And we go into the locker room at halftime, and there really wasn't much to be said. Coach wasn't yelling, screaming, anything like that. It was more, guys, I mean, our energy's not great. We're not playing with any passion. There's no fire. They want it more than we do. They're beating us on the boards. And so really the only message was we have to defend and rebound. And sure enough, that second half comes out and we go on a quick 8-0 run. Then it was like a 10-3 run. And you just kept expanding our points scored and kept getting stops on the defensive end. And you look up at the end of the quarter, and I think it was like 27-6 or
23-6 run.
23-6, yeah, 23-6 run to start. Well, in the third quarter to get us back in the game and then to eventually take the lead. But what all really good teams do is they're going to give us a run, and we actually called a timeout. I think we went up 5 or 7. Maybe 9, and then they go on a quick 8-0 run after that timeout. And you almost felt like it was starting to slip back away then, but we've got a team that's been battle-tested. We've got kids with experience. We've got tough kids, and we weathered their storm, and we regained the lead. And I think one thing that was so impressive was how we shared the ball. It's the best, I think, we've shared the ball in a while, whether it was ball reversal, whether it was in transition, whether it was getting a paint touch and then kicking it back out and then an extra pass for a 3. And I think that started with your guards. I think Cheyenne Day-Wilson played great on the offensive end, but what was really impressive was her defense on Georgia Amore, who's arguably one of the best point guards in the country. She was, I think, top 3 in scoring in the conference, leads the conference in assists, and Cheyenne kept her under both of her point and assist averages. So it was a collective win. Everyone who played contributed, and that's exciting to see going into March. But, it was kind of deja vu from the past 2 years playing against Virginia Tech, because that's where that team and staff came from. And having kids who have already played against similar opponents and, quite frankly, the same team. I mean, with Amor and Strack and a couple other pieces are different, but same style of play, same coaching style. We knew not to panic. I mean, down 12 at half, we've come back from bigger leads. And, it was 16 in the first half. And I think cutting it, and Michaela Williams had said it yesterday, the most impressive part of that was, or the biggest part of that was getting it to like 12 at half. You never want to go into the locker room at halftime down big, whether it's 16, 18, or 20. But if you can get it to like 12, 10, 8, somewhere in that area, then you're in real good shape. So I think getting that lead to 12 at half was good. And then we went with the press. We decided a full court press, change the pace of the game. And I think a lot of people can attribute Kentucky's missed shots to our press. I mean, if you know basketball, when you get pressed, speeds you up a little bit, makes you work a little bit harder, makes you run a little bit faster, up and down. So I think Kentucky's legs got tired. They don't play many kids. They play 6 or 7 kids max, and they miss some open shots. But it's hard to hit open shots when you've been running up and down the court possession after possession. And so I think the mindset for us was, let's wear them down, change the pace, get back to our game, and we're going to be just fine. And sure enough, we get out of there with a W.
Yeah, no, well, you talk about LSU sharing the basketball, and one of the plays to me that kind of showed that the best was the dagger that Michaela hit at the end of the game, where she could have forced a shot, instead threads the needle to Flaugier under the goal. Flaugier also, on the same token, could have tried to go up with a difficult layup or reverse or whatever, kicks it back out to Michaela for the open 3, just showing the team effort, the moving of the basketball, and the rhythm that they were in. How much trust do y'all have in these guards to just go out there and make the right play every time down the court?
Well, I mean, we've got arguably the best guards in the country collectively. There's some really good individual guards out there, but with Michaela, with Flaugier, with Cheyenne, with KG, with Miracle, with Jada Richard coming off the bench, we've got a really strong group of guards, and it's taken time for our guards to realize that making the right pass, making the right read, you're going to get the ball back eventually. It may not be on that possession, but trust what we do offensively, and you're going to see how good we can be. And there's times when we've played teams that, we're definitely better than, where it's more of a one-on-one isolation type game where come set me a ball screen, let me get to work, whatever. But against Kentucky, they play this pack line defense, and that's not going to work against them. They're in the gaps. They have great help side, but their rotations aren't great. It's kind of like, it's not a matchup zone, but kind of looks like one maybe. So when you pass the ball and reverse the ball and make their defense work, good things happen. And so, like you said, a freshman year Flaugier catches that pass from Michaela and probably tries to dribble and fade away 360 and throw it up at the glass. But first off, the pass from Michaela was unbelievable. Split 2 defenders to a cutting Flaugier on the baseline. But their defense had to shift and respect Flaugier under the basket. You still had a post player under the basket. And somehow they decided to leave Michaela Williams pretty wide open at the top, and Flaugier found her, made the right pass, the right read, and knocked down a big shot. Michaela, I mean, what else can you say? She's playing some of the best basketball of any guard in the country right now, really any player in the country. She's kept her head down. She's working. She's averaging, I think, 18, 4, and 3 since that game in the Bahamas against Washington where she was 0 for 9. So, I mean, she's really picked it up. She's kind of flown under the radar, which, if teams want to keep sleeping on her, great. But she's the type of kid that's going to show up every night game in, game out, and whether that shot's falling or not, she's going to give us everything she has.
Yeah, I think if you're an LSU fan, you've kind of noticed like the maturation of Michaela Williams because she was such a heralded recruit, but now to see her kind of take over the team has been like I think a welcome sight for all LSU fans. Like she clearly is, I think, one of the most dominant scorers in the country. But not to put pressure on you here, Coach. A win on Thursday gives LSU its most regular season wins in program history during the NCAA era. Obviously locked into the 3 seed. What do you have going into this game against Alabama, maybe as motivation or anything that you're still playing for or vying for?
Yeah, I mean, you got to always find ways to motivate kids. And this year, obviously, is the 50th year of LSU women's basketball. We've done a lot this year around the history of our program. And in our team meeting on Tuesday, we talked about it because Coach is very big on history when it comes to LSU, when it comes to the program, when it comes to the state, just doing positive things. And, having Coach Starkey on staff, having Simone on staff, people who have contributed a lot to this program's success, do something a team has never done before and set the record for the most wins in a regular season. And this isn't just another game for us. I mean, you have to look who's on the other sideline. Christy Curry coached with Coach Mulkey at Louisiana Tech. And one thing that Christy hasn't done is beaten Coach Mulkey as a head coach. So there's going to be a lot of fire, a lot of passion tonight. But it's another ball game the way we look at it. Everything that we want to do is still in front of us. And we've got a lot of basketball left to be played if we play the right way. And I think that starts tonight. I think Alabama's a very, very good team. You look at their record, I think they're 9-5 in conference right now, which is as good as they've been in a while. They've got a great roster. They've got a 7th-year kid. They've got a 5th-year kid. They've got experience. And I think it's one of those games where you don't let the highs get too high and you don't let the lows get too low. You just have to remain calm and consistent. Alabama came into our place last year and was beating us double figures. We flipped it on them in the second half, ended up coming out with a win. They make 8.5, 9 threes a game. But if we limit them in transition and take the pain away, which we've done a really good job of past couple games, I think we're going to be just fine. But kind of on a note to doing something a team's never done, I mean, you look up, we're 26-2 right now. I mean, we lost to Texas, top 5 team, number 1 in the country right now. Lost to South Carolina, top 10 right now. I think they're a little lower than they probably should be. But other than that, we've gotten everyone's best shot this year. And we've done what we needed to do, taking care of business, whether it's on the road, whether it's neutral site, and then 2 little hiccups on the road against those 2 teams. And go look at our home record. We're undefeated at home this year. It's been exciting. It's been fun. But we got to continue that. And the way we've kind of looked at that is 1-0 mentality. And that starts again tonight. It's another late tip. And we're not going to let that be an excuse. I think Sunday it was tough because 3 o'clock games it was a 4 o'clock Eastern game. So you sit around all day and some coaches debate, well, do we wake up really early and do shoot around at like 7 a.m. and then we get them a meal? And, Coach is a firm believer of sticking to the routine. And if we've got an early to mid-afternoon game, we're not going to get up way early and go shoot around if we don't need to. That's if we get practice on the court the night before, which we did. So we made the decision not to wake up and go shoot around at Kentucky. But we got shoot around today. We're going to go through our normal routine. We got breakfast here in a little bit. And you just want to make sure that you come out on fire tonight. And that doesn't mean making shots. It means playing with passion, playing with energy, because Alabama's fighting for that 4 seed in the SEC. So I think we've locked in the 3. I don't see how there's any way we wouldn't be the 3 seed. I don't think we can jump to the 1 or the 2. And I don't think we can go below. I think if Kentucky were to win out and we were to lose out, I think we'd have the tiebreaker against them. So looking like we'll be the 3 seed in Greenville, which means we'd play the 6 seed if it's chalk. which could be anyone between Alabama, OU, Tennessee, or Kentucky. But like I mentioned, we've got everything we want in front of us right now, and a chance to play a quad 1 team tonight on the road, a quad 1 team at home on Sunday, a quad 1 team in the first round of the SEC tournament, and then y'all know the rest of it. It's either going to be Texas, South Carolina in the semis, or Texas, South Carolina probably in the finals of the SEC tournament. So we've got a lot of big games coming up to help build that resume leading into March Madness, and I think there's still a chance we could be a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They've got us as a 2 right now. But as Coach has said all year, let them keep sleeping on us. She's done great in the NCAA tournament as 1 seeds, 2 seeds, 3 seeds, whatever it may be. We're going to take whatever seed they give us. But the message has been, let's put ourselves in a position to make them think, hey, who should get that last 1 seed? So we're excited. We're in a good place right now. The team's in a good place. It should be a fun one tonight.
Absolutely, and obviously with a lot to play for outside of the SEC tournament, you're all locked into the 3 seed, and 4th year in a row you've gotten the double bye. But with everything that you spoke of about the looming NCAA tournament, do you know of obviously fighting for that 4th 1 seed? Feels like it has to be a win out, or is there some wiggle room there in order to be able to still grab a 1 seed? Like I would imagine SEC tournament, if you're able to make a run, I don't think you have to win it. But if you look impressive against a Texas or South Carolina, you're probably looking at y'all the same way they're like you're looking at them. Like look up and across the bracket, go. It's probably gonna be LSU.
I mean, there's still some games left in other conferences. I think UCLA and USC still have to play again. Notre Dame's got a couple tough ones left. UConn's kind of jumped back into the conversation, which 2 weeks ago when they lost to Tennessee, they weren't, and then they go beat South Carolina on the road by 29. They don't really play anyone else tough. I think they have Creighton maybe, but that's a home game for UConn. So there's still a lot of ball left to be played, and Texas has a great resume. Notre Dame has a great resume. South Carolina's got a pretty good resume. But then you look at us. We've got a pretty good resume. I think we're 4-2 against quad 1 teams this year, with the only 2 losses, like I mentioned, to Texas and South Carolina on the road. But they can give us whatever seed they want. I think if we were to go run the table and win the SEC tournament and win our last 2 regular season games, I don't see how they don't give us a 1 seed. But they always want to talk about the conference tournament can't hurt you. It can only help you. Well, go look at years past. We've been a 3 seed every year we've been at LSU, including last year where we get to the conference tournament championship game against South Carolina. It's a 6 or 7 point game. Well, we didn't beat them, so we end up getting a 3 seed. It just, I don't know. We're going to go into the SEC tournament with the mindset, let's go win this thing. But at the same time, it's not the end of the world if we don't. I mean, you're going to have to play a team you've already played, probably on the road. I think it'll be either Tennessee or Kentucky, maybe Alabama. So if it's one of those 3 teams, you've already played them on the road once. You're going to have to play them again. And then that semifinal game, it'll either be Texas or South Carolina unless there's an upset. So you've already played them on the road. So these are all big opportunities. And when it's all said and done, if we were to run the table, you'd be 9-2 against quad 1 teams, with a majority of those being on the road. So we're going to let it play out. We're going to take it 1 game at a time. But like I said, whether we're a 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, whatever they want to give us, as long as we're
7 seed.
No, we're not going that low. As long as you got to stay in the top 4, because what that means is you get to host your first 2 NCAA tournament games, and that's very important for us. I've said it over and over. We've only lost 4 games at home since we got to LSU. 2 of them to South Carolina, once in the NCAA tournament to Ohio State, which was an Ohio State team that won the Big Ten that year. And we were a little banged up with Alexis's knee. And then you lose, I think it was Florida Gulf Coast our first year we were here. So you've lost 4 total games in 4 years at LSU. Shows you how big our home court is. It shows you our fan support. So getting those first 2 NCAA tournament games at home is going to be very important to us, and we've done the hard part. I think that's a goal of ours every year, is make sure we finish top 4 overall in the SEC, which will in turn probably get you a top 4 overall seed, and win those 2 games, and then you got 4 left. So we've done our work, but we've got to look at this game tonight and the game on Sunday as we've got to be motivated. We can't let the game tonight and the game Sunday mean more to the opponent than it does to us.
Yeah. No, definitely. And obviously, best of luck tonight as y'all take on the Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa. We've got a little game set up here for you to
Coach,
flex,
quick brain teaser, to see if you know
flex your
ball
ball
or not.
knowledge.
Have you ever seen the Immaculate Grid?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we got one set up for you because obviously basketball guy, I figured this would be right in your wheelhouse. We usually end the show. First time we've had a guest do it. So if you were aware of how it works, Noah can explain it if not. But feel free to start filling this thing in with us. We always end the show with one of these. But first time we've had a guest on, so it's like a phone a friend from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Go over it, and then go over it. Refresh my memory. I've seen the finished product, but go over it and then I'll fill it out.
Yeah, so essentially you are trying to match the teams. Like, if you can put it back up there, Lloyd. You've got the Thunder and the 76ers, and so that top left square, you want to name a player that's played for both, and the same way throughout. And then on top of that, it gives you a little percentage on each player named, depending on rarity, like a rarity score. So if you
want to be as obscure as possible,
you want to have
the 76ers and the Thunder for the first
as crazy of a pool as you can when it comes to the player's name. And so you're really just trying to match up the top row and the column on the side and those squares inside.
Oh, boy.
Think of one.
We need you firing early, Coach.
Oh, gosh. Has Neesmith played for Thunder and the Pacers?
That's a good one. I think he's only been on the Pacers. So I think that could be the one, the farthest bottom right, only one team.
I'm not gonna waste it. I'm gonna go Miles Turner on the farthest right for the Pacers because I know he hasn't been with anyone else.
Yep. Yeah, he gets brought up in trades every year, but he sticks around.
Texas guy, huh?
Texas guy, yeah. He was there my freshman year.
Awesome.
Nice. Did Greg Oden play for anybody but the Heat? Oh no, he got drafted.
I was going to say Udonis Haslem.
Oh yeah,
as the only Heat. But
this doesn't have to be this year.
No, this is history.
Oh, okay, all right.
That was locked in.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know the NBA like that good. Gosh.
So you could have done like Reggie Miller was only a Pacer,
right?
But that one would have been used a lot.
James Harden in the top left, Sixers and Thunder.
You can go Paul George for Thunder and Pacers.
Yep. Shaq for Celtics and Heat. Thunder and Heat's gonna be.
Look at that picture of Shaq. He looks exactly like he sounds. Thunder and Heat.
Does it count the Supersonics as the Thunder? Because if so, you could do Gary Payton. But I don't know if it counts.
Yeah, we only get 5 guesses, so it really pigeonholes you into taking shots.
And
then Celtics 76ers also is on the board, and Celtics Pacers.
Celtics 76ers, you can do Al Horford.
Oh, yeah. Don't you Google over there. I heard that keyboard clacking.
Oh, that was responding to a text message actually.
Oh, okay. Pencils down.
We're not. We'll go hands up. Thunder. I'm trying to think of someone who's been on the 76ers.
And the Celtics?
Solo.
Oh.
Well,
I mean, Joel's been there the whole time.
Yeah, let's go with him. Let's go him with the top right. That gives us a good tic-tac-toe looking pattern.
Yeah. Autism is strong. And then you have Al Horford right here if we want to do that.
Yeah, let's throw him in there.
Big Al.
Pacers and Celtics is going to be.
Who's on the podcast with? Where's the crown that's been getting shit on?
Rashad McCants.
Do you play for both?
I think he only played for the
That would-
Timberwolves and overseas.
It's got to be like a.
So Paul George got the trade to get, say, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right?
Yes,
then-
from the Clippers.
Do you want to put Gary Payton in there, see if it hits?
I don't know if I want to test it. We only have 3 guesses.
That's true.
I know we've got Udonis on the far right if we wanted to use it. The bottom.
Let's go with that. We can knock him out.
Big Haslam. Legend. His rarity score is way lower than I thought it was
Me
going to be.
too. Wow.
Pacers and Celtics.
Pacers, Celtics.
Celtics.
All right.
Go.
This one, I don't know for sure because I know he played with the Magic. And I know he played for the Heat. And he was my grandma's next door neighbor in Houston when he was in. But I don't know I think he spent a year or two with the Thunder. And I don't want to.
That's the game.
Rashard Lewis.
Magic.
I think he was with the Magic, and I know he was with the Heat, but I want to say he was with the Thunder for like 1 or 2 years.
He was. I'm pretty sure he was on the Supersonics.
What about Rashard Lewis? Who? Oh shit! I forgot what I was gonna say. Point guard? No. Did he do Rashad? He was on that Magic team that absolutely ripped the heart out of it.
The Cavaliers.
Yeah.
It's the question is it going to be like the Supersonics count? Do we say the Supersonics count?
Yeah. If we get this wrong, we're gonna say the Supersonics count.
Okay.
Oh,
Perfect.
6%er.
There we go. All right, we got one.
I have a signed Rashard Lewis basketball in
Fire.
What a jump shot. That thing was automatic.
Yes.
Little
Butter.
funky. Yeah.
A little funky, way up there.
Pacers
so
and
one more.
Celtics.
What do we have? Pacers and Celtics.
This is a tough one.
One guess left.
The same division. I think. No, they're not.
What?
Pacers and Celtics.
Oh. Jermaine O'Neal, huh? Maybe.
Oh, yep. No, I think that's.
He played for the Celtics. I know he played for the Pacers.
Definitely played for the Pacers.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, great. Good call. Next one up.
Ball knowledge.
Elite ball knowledge. Rarity
There we
score
go.
278. There we go.
Immaculate.
Okay.
A great breakout performance, starting it off strong.
Wow.
That was it.
God, there's some names on there. Rashard Lewis. Jermaine O'Neal. I went to college with Jermaine's daughter, actually. Asia. She played volleyball at Texas. She was actually really, really good. Won them a national maybe 2 national championships.
Yeah.
So.
Nope, that's a great breakout performance there. Best of luck tonight. We appreciate you hanging out.
Look, already got one dub today, Coach.
Yep. Starting off strong.
There we go.
Eat it.
We need another one tonight. Mom always tells me when we play Alabama, if it's LSU women's basketball, she's rooting for us. So shout out to Mom.
There we go.
Not much here in Tuscaloosa right now in the middle of the year. I think it's more of a football town is when it gets popping because it was dead last night.
Men's basketball maybe a little bit, but yeah, I've made that trip far too many times to Tuscaloosa for LSU Alabama, and it is not much to do.
No,
So
I don't know how my mom went to school here. Kidding, I'm sure it's a fun place.
Tell me the secrets. Stay safe, get a dub. We'll see you back at the crib.
Appreciate it. Yep. Let's take care of business tonight. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Yep, go Tigers.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all.
All right.
All right. Closing it out this morning. That was a great immaculate grid. Immaculate it was.
It was.
But good stuff this morning. Obviously, bad stuff this morning as well. As if you didn't hear, which I'd be surprised if you didn't. Bo Davis is leaving LSU, joining Kellen Moore's coaching staff in New Orleans. We're definitely going to end up talking about it again tomorrow. So we're going to take the rest of today, really absorb it, think about it, digest it, and hopefully have some stronger opinions and thoughts and takes tomorrow morning. Obviously, tune in to LSU women's basketball tonight, LSU baseball this weekend. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 to 9, with more of the Jordy Culotta Show.
I know that we were in the No One Stop football chat today.
Yes.
But keep making that transition. I saw the numbers getting very close to even. Keep meandering your way over there. I can only be in one chat at a time. It depends on what stream I get up first, I'm finding out. So I guess I'll try to start meandering over and get the Culotta Show one up first so I can interact with the boys because we had a bunch of guests. Shane LeBlanc, thank you. Hunter Hall, thank you. BB.
Glim.
Everybody.
Yes.
Randy Jones, nice to have you.
Yes.
New weekly segment. Hunter Hall, this might be a daily until
we
ball
get to
starts.
football season.
But that was a fun one. Glad, flexed his muscle a little bit.
Oh,
but
yeah. And
we'll be back tomorrow morning.
One other piece. Today, 10:30.
Another piece.
10:30 on the Jordy Culotta Show channel. Rally Time with Justin Babin is going to be live. It's not a live show, but it will be live and up. Premiering at 10:30 today. So make sure you subscribe, ring that bell. Like Lloyd said, we're going to be on the Culotta Show channel only starting next week. So go ahead and get over there, subscribe, ring the bell. Get some more LSU baseball content as it goes live at 10:30 today. The Rally Time podcast with Justin Babin talking ball. So make sure you get over there and watch that. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Love you.
Love you.
Put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose.